Thank you all for coming on such short notice. If you'd have a seat, we'd like to begin. Today, we gather to celebrate the life and passing of the Dragon Age franchise. And I believe to start us off, the fake wizard would like to say a few words. Go ahead. A few words. Who could have seen this coming? Certainly not all of us, who called it. BioWare gutted and restructured after Dragon Age Veilguard Failure. What's that? I thought this game was a hit, right? Apparently not. To the tune of underperforming by at least half of what EA expected. Which is funny that that's what they stated. We underperformed by half, but internal projections, we're looking at 10 million copies sold. And it looks like you guys got around to 1.5 million copies moved by the end of 2024. That's a lot more than half. The failure of Dragon Age Veilguard and the franchise as a whole is not something to celebrate. And though my words might seem jagged, this is not a victory. No, this is a funeral. Another legacy IP has fallen on its own sword, bleeding out on the altar as a sacrifice to the 5 worst people in entertainment: writers, marketing professionals, journalists, influencers, and corporate executives. The age of the dragon has ended. But why has it ended on such a whimper? Let's talk about it. Welcome to The Pondering. I am the real-life fake wizard. If this video brings you any value at all, or perhaps you feel like you learned something, consider subscribing, where we cover similar topics here almost every day. So BioWare manager Gary McKay put out this statement saying Dragon Age is done and that the company is going to focus 100% on Mass Effect moving forward. He also heavily implied, though he did not confirm, that the leadership team behind Veilguard was done, they're out, goodbye. Now, we know that Corinne Bush, the game director on Veilguard, quit a few weeks ago, putting out a statement that basically said, "We had fun. You guys were cool to work with. I'm leaving for another job now. Take care. Bye-bye." Convenient, huh? I think as somebody who feels very personal about the desecration of every imaginable franchise that I've ever had a connection to, there's nothing satisfying about this. Corinne comes in, inherits the stewardship of a beloved franchise, and is responsible for its cataclysmic downfall, and then just walks away. Now, part of that, of course, is if, and I said if, the management at EA wanted Corinne to resign. That is actually a mercy. When things go bad in the corporate world, sometimes they let you walk away with honor, and you hand in a letter of resignation. This is to save face for the person quitting, but also, and way more importantly, it's to save face for the corporation. Think about it. If the product fails and the stock is in free fall, which is what EA has been experiencing, how much worse would it be if they fired the person responsible outright? It would be a sign of insecurity, and shareholders would start asking way more questions. Why'd you hire this person? Why'd you put them in control? Are you a bad judge of character, EA? Are you admitting failure? And that goes back to what I was saying about none of this ever being satisfying. When a franchise is destroyed in the same way as Dragon Age and Star Wars, Doctor Who, we want somebody to admit that they screwed up. We want someone to say they were wrong. We want to point the finger and say, it's your fault that I'm upset. And we want them to acknowledge our complaints, look us dead in the eyes, and genuinely reply back by saying, sorry, apologize. We want them to apologize, and they never, ever do. Either they run off and fade into obscurity, having taken the scalp of a legacy franchise with them, or they double down, creating a lasting animosity between franchise steward and customer. What's crazy, for me at least, is you look at somebody like Corinne Bush, and then you look at the Veilguard final product that shipped, and you know what? I really want to sit down and talk with you, because from a place of good faith, I have thousands of questions I want to ask. What were you going for? What is it you were really trying to do? What were your motivations? Did you take the financials into account? Did you think this was too big to fail? Was there somebody above you trying to tell you what to do? And are there boxes you were forced to check? And likely, I will disagree with every single answer Corinne could give, and that would be okay. I don't see us having similar views at all. And this conversation would confirm, probably, that Corinne likely fits into the basket of one of the 5 people ruining entertainment, as I say. Don't you want to better understand why people keep doing this? I do. I want to talk to them about it. I want to get in their heads. Because it's business, my friends. It's business. There are millions of dollars tied to these awful decisions. And I know many of you are going to take to the comments and jump to conclusions, citing ideologies and prerogatives of grandeur. And maybe you're not wrong, but maybe there's more to it. You know, I know this video is going to catch shit. I'm not saying I would ever want Corinne Bush or Kathleen Kennedy or Ryan Johnson or J.J. Abrams or even Leslie Headland to ever touch a legacy franchise again. But I would love to have a conversation with them. Human beings don't often learn from successes. When we win, we celebrate, and most of the time we get fat and lazy. You know when we learn? Like, for real? When we lose. We learn when we lose. And all those people I just named have some of the greatest modern failures under their belts, okay? And even if they're too blind or arrogant or proud or just plain malevolent to see it, what they did resulted in massive financial failure. I want to learn all about it. What was the timeline on your decisions? What were the hardest decisions you had to make? What was going through your mind when you decided to kill off a legacy character? What were you thinking when you signed off on this Tosh narrative? Was that inspired by something? What was it? When I say there are 5 people ruining entertainment, I do not say that lightly. Entertainment is not just the passing of time or distraction. It's how human beings pass on their knowledge. Storytelling is the foundation of humanity. It's what makes human beings being. We use stories to change hearts and minds, inspiring those who could go on to do amazing things. And we live in an age of dragons, where those who are stewarding the stories that define the past generations are making decisions that result in the fundamental collapse and disregard of those legacies. I have no love for these people. I don't even want to give them second chances most of the time. I look at these 5 people as opponents in a card game. And they keep making the worst moves, knocking their glasses of wine onto the table, bleeding the cards in their hand, and they've got nothing. They keep going all in on a 2-7, and that's a bad hand. But you still pay attention to their strategies because their decisions are coming from somewhere. They went all in a minute ago and lost, and yet somehow they're back with more chips. Who's buying them the chips? They keep losing so much, and yet they're still at the table playing. If we're here to win, what are they here to do? Study your opponents, my friends. Never, ever think you have them entirely figured out. Rest in peace, Dragon Age. And for you watching this, if you like this video, consider hitting the like button. If you're new here and want to see more from me, consider hitting the subscribe button. Until next time, create, innovate, and inspire. And for the love of God, cancel Disney Plus. You got it. Hey. Don't pull a Barv.